Welcome back to Good Better Broker as we bring in Enrique Braunschweiger. He is the president and a mortgage broker with First West Financial based in Palm Desert, California. Enrique, great to have you here.
Thank you. You got the name right. You got the right pronunciation.
So we're off to a good start.
That's a good
start.
start.
All right, that's a checkbox for me. Yeah. A little about you for our listeners. You have been in the business for over 20 years now, and you've had your current company, First West Financial, for over 15 years. I also want to mention that Enrique is a newly appointed member of the board of AIM. So congratulations to you on
very
that.
Exciting.
Yeah, we love to see what you're doing to help other mortgage brokers around the country. And to that end, Enrique, you believe that all mortgage brokers, all loan originators must have a plan for how they're going to get business.
Yeah,
why do you feel that way?
Yeah, that's kind of like my mantra right now. Is that's something we're talking to a lot of people about. I think part of the challenge we have is that for a long time, people didn't need to do much, right? If you were a mortgage person and you went to the car wash, and you walk out of the car wash with a loan, right? Somebody saw you with a T-shirt or something. And times have changed. So now it's more competitive. Technology is so important. But people still try to figure out how to do better. And I think the challenge is that they just want to show up and maybe a loan will show up. And it doesn't work that way. Having a plan is so important. And people, well, it's so basic, right? To have a plan, but yet people struggle with that.
Yeah, you and I were talking before the interview, and you told me that mortgage loan originators need to leave the idea behind that they can just exist and have business come to them. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
Well, I have a mentor that mentioned to me that the loans are out there, right? There's plenty of loans out there. We know the numbers. We know how many people are going to buy houses. And we got to position ourselves in the path of where that loan is going. So you have a realtor or a referral partner or a past client or a person that has a referral, and they have to make a decision who's going to get that loan. And we have a lot of loan officers that are just hoping that those loans would land in their lap, that maybe just by showing up in the office or posting a little bit on social media or just existing, that they're going to get business. Now, there's some business that shows up like that, but the vast majority of the business has a path. You have to intercept that path. You have to get in the way of that loan and say, hey, I'm here. I'm a broker. I can do better pricing. I can do faster, right? So we have to get better at creating the opportunity rather than just waiting for the opportunity to show up.
What, in your mind, does every loan originator out there have to cover to be successful?
Yeah, I talk in particular about 4 areas. And a lot of brokers, especially nowadays, we get distracted, right, with technology, with shiny objects, with what is that guy doing? Maybe I can do what he's doing. Maybe I can buy that piece of software. Well, I like to work on the basics, right? I have clients, coaching clients that I work with, and the 4 basics that I love is, first of all, realtors, working with realtors, either acquiring new realtors or working with realtors that you already have and strengthening those relationships. The second thing that a lot of people miss is their sphere of influence. Friends, family, friends and family of your friends and family, right? You can make a very healthy living just focusing on that. The third leg that is also overlooked is past clients, because there's not a lot of refis right now. A lot of people don't touch their database. You know, I got over 1,000 clients on my database. I touch them every week, 52 times a year or more. And the reason is because even though there may not be a lot of refis, you have to stay connected because they have referrals. They have opportunities there. So we know that's the third leg. And the other part that I really like to focus on a lot is branding. I think that as a broker, you also need to learn to separate yourself from the competition. You need to embrace a brand and really go after it. Those are the 4 areas that I think brokers need to focus on.
Okay, so with those 4 areas now in place, how do you help other people put together a blueprint of their own? Because you alluded to this, and I want to make sure that our listeners know that you are not just a mortgage broker and the president of your company, but you also do coaching.
That's right.
You are out there helping other LOs, other brokers, to get better at what it is they do. So where do you start, Enrique, when you're trying to help another LO put together a blueprint of their own?
Yeah. Well, we really begin with the typical idea of start with the end in mind. So I ask people, right? We're like right now, we're June, and I said, well, how much money do you want to make between now and the end of the year? As simple as that. We all want to make money. We're all in this to make a living, to take care of our families. And then once we identify really what the goal is in terms of how much business we want, then we have to deconstruct that back and start thinking about how many conversations people need to have, how many applications people need to take, how many conversations it's going to take to get those applications. And then that really brings us to what are the actions that we have to take. So rather than just start putting together a plan and say, well, we're going to start calling realtors and we're going to start posting on Facebook, we say, no, start with conversations. How many conversations do I need to have? Loan officers that are struggling, they don't have a lack of business. They just don't have enough conversations. They're not having enough meaningful conversations with the people that actually have the loans. That's where it's at.
It's funny, you mentioned starting with the end goal, and that made me think of running a marathon. You know, I'm a runner, and whenever I go into a training cycle for a marathon, what do you start with? Well, you start with the fact that you have to run 26.2 miles on race day, and then you lay out your plan, your training plan, to get you to that point. It sounds somewhat similar to your approach.
Very similar. I think that what happens to us, our common sense tells us that we need to start laying out all the strategies, right? We may come to Success Track, or we may have a webinar that a bank puts out and they talk about all the strategies, and we start, so well, let's implement the strategies. But the truth is, what do you really want? How much money do you want to make? How many loans do you want to close? Everything springs from that. I believe that in order for you to get a loan, you have to have conversations. And nowadays, it can take anywhere between 3 and 10 conversations. Do you know what that number is in your case, right? Most loan officers don't know that in order for them to get one application, they need 10 conversations. So then we focus on having those conversations. How do we create opportunities to have more conversations? That's how you get the loans. That's how you get to the end.
Enrique, before you were the teacher, you were once the apprentice. And,
Right.
and to an extent, you still are, because you've always believed in coaching. It's been always been something that you've invested in. Why?
Well, I'm a strong believer in that. In fact, you've had the opportunity to talk to one of my mentors, Bill Hart. He was in this chair, and somebody I look up to. And, think about it. Look at the top athletes, right? We're getting ready to go to the Olympics here in a month. Every single one of those people has a coach. And most of these coaches may not even necessarily be the greatest athletes, right? But having the open-mindedness to learn from someone, to be able to accept feedback and direction is terribly important, right? I love golfers. I love golfers because they're so mental about their game, and yet most of them have coaches. And some of them have a coach for the short game, and some have a coach for the swing. And you realize, if these guys believe in that, and if they believe they can make them better, why wouldn't we, right? You've heard of the phrase, there is no shortcuts in life. I believe there is. I believe that if you have the right coach and he's been through a road, he can show you a shortcut to get there faster rather than having to do that. So I put in 20 years, right? Maybe you don't have to, because I already put in the 20 years and I can help you with that shortcut. So it's not shortcutting your actions, it's shortcutting your plan and knowing what to do.
I love the golf analogy, because and you and I were talking about this. How often do you see someone win a golf tournament, PGA, LPGA, and then they're being interviewed afterwards, and they talk about how they went out there and executed their plan. It's not by mistake that they went out there and beat everybody else, all these other pros. They went out there with a plan in mind, and they were able to see it through.
Exactly. I love the other interview, the one that didn't win. And they usually say, well, I started really well, but I got away from my plan, right? Or, man, I started getting in my head and I changed what I was doing, and look at what happened, right? The plan works. You got to execute it, though.
You have this line that I want to ask you about, and here's how it goes. The magic you seek is in the work you avoid.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
That's for everything in life. I talk to people on a weekly basis that tell me what they want. They want more loans. They want more time with their family. They want to improve their health. They want to get thinner. And yet, when you put together the plan, it's like, I don't know if that I can really do that. Or isn't there an easier way? We avoid doing the work. And it's a great place to start. If you're struggling with something, take a look at what you're not doing. That's usually where the answer is, right? So don't have enough business, but you avoid making phone calls, or you avoid connecting, or you avoid doing People, I don't like to do video. I don't like to do this. I don't like to do that. That's where it's at. That's where the magic is.
For anybody out there who has ever sought out coaching, whether it's in business or self-improvement or, fitness, whatever the case may be, there are so many options out there, and a lot of people that you can go to have a plan in place, right? They have this plan that you have to follow to a T. When you are coaching your clients, Enrique, this is not the way you go about it. Why is it important to you to put together a plan in consultation with the clients?
Yeah, I've been in situations where, because of money or whatever situation, people say, well, we already have the formula here. You just have to follow it. And that works. I mean, at the end of the day, if you make 100 phone calls, right, so many of those are going to answer. But I believe that time is so precious and so important, time is money, that taking the time to really understand what the person's capabilities are, what their desires are, that's really the way to go. I don't think that every loan officer, I'm spending time here at UWM with tons of loan officers, and we're all so different. We have different personalities, different backgrounds. We're not all going to execute the same way. We don't have the same goals. So doing customization in terms of what you want and how to get there is super important.
And part of that conversation, and you might have alluded to this before, but I want to bring it up again, is a question that you ask when you meet with LOs. And this is, very to the point. And it goes to, their bank account. What is it you ask the LOs when you first meet with them?
How much money do you want to make? Right? How much money do you want to make? Most people don't call me or say, hey, I need to speak with you because I have so much money. I don't know what to do with it. Do you think you can? I'm not that kind of financial advisor, right? Usually people call me because they realize they have untapped potential. They know that, hey, it used to be better, or I'm off track, or I'm not doing the things that I need to be doing. I'm currently actually coaching a person that doesn't need more business. That's the one exception that I have right now. I have a person that actually has a ton of business, and we're working on other things to make this person more efficient. But the majority of the people want to do more business, and money is a motivator. And my thinking is that if you cannot answer that question, then you're going to have a difficult time really setting the goals as to how many loans you need to close and how many conversations you need to have. So how do we lay out a plan? Do we just start doing things and hopefully you'll make enough money and then go, okay, we can stop now? That doesn't work that way. Let's start with a goal in mind.
So you've got, just about 30 LOs now in your own business. I mentioned your new position with AIM, and you've always been somebody who's, here at UWM trying to help other clients. You're very active in the broker community. What is it about you that just makes you want to help others and show them different ways they can succeed in this business?
Yeah, I'm going to be very honest about this. I hated when people knew that I was a broker, because I was part of I've been in the business from the subprime days, and the broker had such a struggle. We had no support, no voice. People would find out you're a broker. They felt bad for you, like it was a bad thing to be a broker. That when the opportunity came to participate in the community and companies like UWM and some of the other banks and the associations, and they all started coming to help the broker, I saw an opportunity. And I think that brokers need help. What we do is unique. We have to be marketers. We have to be accountants. We have to be, loan officers. We have to be everything because we're entrepreneurs and we need a lot of help. And there's a lot of resources. So for me, it's not so much to teach people, but to also point at the resources that are available. There's so much help right now. I wish there would have been this much help when I started 20 years ago, but that's the whole gift, right? That we now have the opportunity to share with other people that don't know where to start or where to go, how to do it.
So when you started 20 years ago, we were probably mostly using flip phones, and
right.
Technology was still in its infancy stages when you compare it to what's going on today. And that brings me to AI and the role that, artificial intelligence is playing in the business. How do you look at the role AI plays in putting together a successful plan for a mortgage broker?
Right. So artificial intelligence is everywhere now, right? And it's unavoidable. It's not going to go away. If anything, it's going to get more and more sophisticated. And we have an opportunity right now to get into the ground floor to understand really the mechanics and how this is going to get into the everyday thing. So we have AI now helping us qualify people, helping underwrite. market, how to write better posts, how to do just about everything. It's not going away. What I want to encourage brokers is to not dismiss the opportunity. Someone said yesterday that your job is not going to be taken over by AI. Your job is going to be taken over by someone who understands and implements AI. And I want to be that person. I'm 58 years old and I'm learning every day. How do I use these tools? I use it every day. So I know that it's a sort of like an attitude, right? A lot of people, well, I don't want to do that. Imagine 40 years ago, it's, well, I don't really want to do email, or I don't know about this internet. Here we are. You got to get into it.
No, you're right. It's a great message. And speaking of, I would just want to ask you for your message to other mortgage brokers out there, as we still navigate our way through this challenging market. Mm-hmm. And you told me that business is down. I mean, you're very upfront about it when you and I first connected a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure a lot of other people are in the same boat right now. So what is your message to others as far as how they can stay motivated until inevitably rates do drop and business perks up for everybody?
Well, the first thing is you have to make adjustments. You have to adjust the way you're doing business. You have to get more efficient. You have to get the right partners under your belt to help you. You got to think outside the box. I just met with a broker that ended up shifting the way he was hiring people, right? And that's one thing. The other thing is, chances are we're not even reaching the full potential that we have, right? If I talk to someone and they tell me, they're doing 1 or 2 loans a month, I ask them, so did you go to high school here? Do you have high school friends? Do you have family? They're not even reaching out. So there's a lot of opportunity. And I think that as a broker, you have to take a second, step back and say, okay, what am I missing? What are some of the areas that other brokers are having success with, and how do I get there? And that's where, a lot of the coaching and learning, and there's a lot of free resources, tons and tons of free resources. That's the reason why we love AIM, because you can go into some of their forums and Facebook pages and ask questions, and the answers are there. There's always someone willing to help. There's opportunity.
And that's the beauty of the broker community, and you are such a strong advocate for it and a great ambassador for independent mortgage brokers across the country. And I know that you'll continue to lead the charge, and not just with your own business, but also helping others. And part of that is joining us for this conversation. So we genuinely appreciate you taking the time to do it. Enrique Braunschweiger with First West Financial. Great to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. We'll do this again.
Thank you for watching Good Better Broker and helping us support independent mortgage brokers everywhere. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified about new videos, as well as your preferred podcast platform for a new episode every other Tuesday.